Because this process is new for a lot of us, we're going to workshop the idea of strategic planning. We're going to start at that big, what do I want level. So, the strategic objectives, those are the things that are big categories of, yeah, that sounds cool. We're going to use, I will have a functional studio to make art as our template here because I know it's on everybody's list. And also, you need to have a functional studio to make art. Now, when I say studio, I don't necessarily mean that you have a detached building with like garage door size access for shipping. What I mean is you got a place and you got the stuff you need to make some art. It could be a shoebox and your kitchen counter, but it's a functional studio to make art. You've been asked to keep track of the tools that you use this semester. I only had you turn in 1 week, but I want you to keep track for the whole semester. Think about everything you're using. And this doesn't have to be all on you. Talk to your classmates in those upper division studio classes. Talk to your faculty. Compare and come up with the list of things that you need, the things that you want, and the things that would be really nice to have, but maybe aren't going to happen anytime soon. Make a big giant list. No pressure. Don't feel bad. It's not like you have to buy all of this by next Tuesday. It's that we want to know what we're on the lookout for. We're then going to take that list and we're going to divide it up into categories. Let's say you've already got some stuff. You probably have a pencil. You might even have a sketchbook. You lucky dog, you. Think of the things that you have that might run out and keep a list of those separate from the things that we're going to describe as durable goods, those things that should last for a while. Equipment that I need that costs less than $50 is a very different category than equipment that I would like to have that costs a couple of hundred. You could skip one night of beer and afford a screwdriver, which I don't mean to drink. Don't know, just stop. Make art. Don't have fun, make art. But you want to know about those big ticket items that you could theoretically save up for or be on the lookout for on Craigslist. And then we're going to have the really big stuff, the stuff that costs more than $251. Why that amount? It's an arbitrary number. If your job pays you a whole lot more or a whole lot less, change what is the harder stretch goal amount of money. And then you also want to have a list of facilities requirements, the big, like this is part of the building kind of stuff, because you probably aren't going to have access to that immediately. And so it becomes your job to sort of figure out how to get to whatever it is. Maybe it's worth taking a 1 credit hour class at your local community college just so that you can get in and use the kilns. Once you have that kind of information, in this example, we're going to turn these into SMART goals. Now, we know what a SMART goal is because we watched other videos. Break it out into actual goals. I will maintain the studio equipment that I have, or you rewrite it to account for the fact that you're going to have to replace some things when you run out of pencil lead. I will purchase one tool per week, per month for the next semester, 6 years, until graduation. Or I will save a fixed dollar amount. I will save $50, or I will save a percentage. I will save 10% of every paycheck, or I will save all of my tips towards the purchase of, and what's the thing that is a little more expensive but would make your studio life so much easier. Or you're going to do the research. By Monday, I will have found the nearest co-op that allows me to purchase time in their woodshop. Come up with the list of the things that you know that you're going to want to look for when you're trying to find a roommate to subsidize your kiln on the electric bill. Then you're going to break those SMART goals down even further. So our first step is the strategic objectives. Our second step are those SMART goals. I'm asking you to do 5 for each strategic objective. This is a ridiculously tiny number, and you should have way more than that. It should not make you feel overwhelmed, because what we're going to do next is break it down into the tiny little bitty baby steps that we can do. What are the action steps that I need? On November 26th, which might be Black Friday, I go to Jerry's Artorama and I purchase that thing. Or I need to remember to bake a cake for Pat because the next day I'm using their scanner. You're going to see that there's a lot of blurring that can happen between these goals because maybe getting things scanned is an equipment studio concern, or maybe it's also a building a portfolio concern, which means that you have to make sure that you've got those works on paper done so that you can go in and take advantage of your poor friend Pat. Good job, Pat. Take one for the team. So it's fine if once we get into those little bitty steps, the action steps, it's fine if they start to blur between different things. That's actually probably a good indication that your goals are all relevant, that they're working to help you advance your art career. Make sure that you also actually use these action steps. Put them on your calendar. I had a student once tell me that he realized during his capstone exhibition that being an artist consisted mostly of making lists. Just because I was expanding the I will have a functional studio to make art strategic objective into SMART goals that had a lot to do with buying equipment doesn't mean that those are the only kinds of SMART goals that would be associated with that strategic objective. You definitely want to think about safety concerns, educating yourself about what you can and can't do in a smaller space that you're likely to use. Don't forget about storage and preservation. It would be a real shame if you made beautiful work that then got destroyed because your cat peed on it. Big part of having a functional studio to make art is being able to get into the studio for the art making part of it. So you might make one of your SMART goals to think about time management. Studio motivation is actually often a bigger problem than not having a good place to work or not having the best materials. Because if there's anything that contemporary art teaches us, it's that you can make good art out of pretty much anything, but you gotta make the art. We could have a completely different set of SMART goals associated with that strategic objective. I will have a functional studio to make art. For some of you is going to be convert the basement in my house into a studio, and then all the steps that go into that. First of which is obviously to get a house, which means that this SMART goal is going to then also work for the strategic objective of marrying a doctor or a lawyer. Look at the other things on your strategic objectives list. Break them out. If you come up with a list of all the little steps between you and what you want to do, and that feels overwhelming, this is a good thing. I mean, you're going to feel bad, but you're an artist. You're supposed to feel bad. So what we want to do is to have that target list so that we can start moving through and trying to achieve these things. This is the way that we're going to be able to build a sustainable career, by knowing what it is that I need to do and to know the general direction I'm going for.